Perfect. So, hello everyone. Greetings from the International Cooperative Alliance, Asia and Pacific. We welcome you all to the webinar on Youth as Climate Actors in Asia Pacific. This webinar is being organized as part of COOP Dialogue, a biannual publication that we release every year, and the next issue shall be released in November. You can receive your copy of the publication by signing up in advance. The link will be shared in the chat box in some time. The Asia Pacific region has 60% of the world's youth population. They are not only the future of this region, but also potential victims of climate change and its consequences that will accrue in times to come. But what is climate change? Is it only long-term shifting of temperatures and weather patterns? Or is it something that we all experience from time to time, but are not able to describe it in right words? Whatever may be the face of climate change, it is clear that climate actions do not have one face. Climate actions come in all forms and sizes. And regardless of whether our actions are at individual level, implemented in our schools, colleges, or organizations, or in wider community, it is true that all actions, big and small, matter. And they matter because today's youth are the future. And it is not fair that they face the consequences of climate change. Today's webinar is very special. It is special because we will be showcasing actions taken by young people who not only believe that climate change matters to them, but also believe that climate change is best addressed when we collaborate, partner, and cooperate with each other. It is special because other than the panelists, we are joined by more than 250 young people from different countries in Asia and Pacific who are eager to learn about different ideas and also share their own experiences and practices with each other. We want all of you to interact freely in the chat box and during the open forum. You can learn and share ideas with each other, exchange information, your contacts to build your wider network. The first half of today's webinar will focus on initiatives taken by the panelists, their views on climate change, reasons for opting a cooperative model, challenges faced by them, and the future plans. The second half will focus on an open dialogue between the panelists and you all. Participants are invited to ask questions, share their views on climate change, exchange eco-friendly practices adopted by them at individual, school, college, organization, or community level. Now, without much ado, let me introduce to you our first guest. She has a long association with cooperatives and has worked closely with youth as well as on the subject of climate change. I warmly welcome Ms. Lazalit Gamban, Diaspora and Climate Action Program Unit Head at National Confederation of Cooperatives, NATCO, in the Philippines. She joined NATCO in 2007, and when she was in school, she served as the vice chairperson of one of the laboratory cooperatives. Dear Lazalit, a very warm welcome to you. We are very happy to have you here and are looking forward to know about your journey as a COOP Eco Ambassador. Please tell us more about yourself and community.
Thank you, Simreen. Good morning and good afternoon, cooperators. Wherever in Asia and the world we may be, I am sending warm greetings of Cooperative Month to all cooperators. As you know, in the Philippines, we celebrate the Cooperative Month in October. And this activity, I believe, is ICAAP's way of joining the Philippines in this celebration. Thank you very much for this invitation and for giving me a special topic for a message, the journey of a co-op eco ambassador for the webinar on youth as climate actors in Asia Pacific. For 12 years, I was part of the Children and Youth program of NATCO before I took on another role. We have seen how our youth leaders in the co-ops emerge to become leaders in their communities, organizations, and families, not only in the Philippines, but globally. We are proud of their achievements, of our young leaders who attributed their confidence, their leadership skills, care for the community, volunteerism spirit in their exposure and training in the cooperative. This is the kind of leadership that keeps us inspired to develop more young leaders in the co-op, young people who are trailblazers, change makers, and now I believe eco ambassadors and climate leaders. The role of the youth in climate change mitigation and adaptation could not be overemphasized. Young people, with their numbers, as shared by Simrine, hold massive power to influence, start a movement, and even hold decision makers and leaders accountable. The challenge is greater in Asia and the Pacific because our region is one of the most vulnerable regions to the effects of climate change. We have seen it, we have felt it, most of us also have experienced it. While we are forming young co-op leaders, it is high time for us to develop young climate leaders as well. Co-ops are strong in educating young people about finances, thrift, and savings. While we are strong in financial literacy, it is high time for us to strengthen also our youth's climate literacy. This is the reason why I took on the role as climate change advocate or climate action advocate of NATCO. In July of 2020, I asked my group head if I could attend the trainers training on co-ops for climate action organized by the Association of Asian Confederation of Credit Union or ACU. After attending the training, we made our action plan. As a nature lover, I embraced the role of an eco ambassador. Very challenging role, but very meaningful indeed. Today, we have trained 286 cooperators who graduated in the co-ops for climate action training from 100 co-ops. These co-ops have done amazing climate action activities in their communities and for their members. We have also developed the Green Co-op Assessment, which paved the way for the launching of the Green Co-op Award. The first awardees will be recognized in the General Assembly of NATCO in 2023. The Children and Youth Program also had their Plant a Seed campaign, encouraging children and youth in the co-ops to become plant enthusiasts, to start grow, maintain, and promote their vegetable garden. The culmination activity would be the harvesting of their vegetable garden, which they can sell in the community as an additional source of income or for savings. The program has been running for 2 years now, and it has developed inspiring young plant enthusiasts in the co-ops. And another great thing that happened is that climate action is now an official program of NATCO with its own unit, the Diaspora and Climate Action Program. Quite an eventful journey from July of 2020, during the height of the lockdown, to today, when the world has slowly eased into the next normal. And we are happy to share that we are now in the process of completing the Climate Action Manual for Co-ops as part of the capacity building program for women cooperators on climate change and action in Asia and the Pacific in partnership with ICAAP. Challenging tasks, but truly worthwhile, especially for the future of our young people. Cooperatives, in whatever types, are fundamentally aimed at improving the quality of life of the people. The World Health Organization provides indicators for quality of life, and a safe and clean environment is one important element. Co-ops can only succeed if the environment thrives. Thus, co-ops in Asia and in the Pacific are taking active roles in the fight against climate change as part of our primary goal as a financial and social enterprise. Congratulations and great job to all young people here who are young eco ambassadors of your co-ops. You are truly agents of change, entrepreneurs, and innovators. May you continue to use your talents and skills to accelerate climate action in your homes, co-ops, schools, and communities. Hashtag Youth for Climate Action. Thank you so much, everyone, and let's enjoy this webinar.
Thank you so much, dear Lazalit. And the hashtag youth as climate actors is most welcome. And we're going to use it now on our tweets. So thank you so much again for that inspiring message. And so before we proceed, I have a quick question for you, which is, how do you think that you've been involved in the cooperative sector for a long time, and also you volunteered to become an eco ambassador? So how do you personally feel that integrating climate change as a full-time program in your organization has, if it has brought any change in among the decision makers, like before and after situation?
Definitely, Simran, because we have observed that the leaders in the NATCO network now are more aware. And because of that awareness, they have developed policies that the co-op can integrate not only in the short term, but in the long term. We have policies regarding waste management, the integration of climate compliance in loan application, assigning eco ambassadors, doing regular campaigns to adapt forests or grow trees in their communities. So imagine, because in the Philippines, we have more than 800 member co-ops, but we have only reached 100 co-ops as of today. So there's still a long way to go, but we are grateful for those 100 co-ops who have taken steps. And if these 100 co-ops can influence also at least 5 or 10 from each family, in the Philippines, we have 6 million cooperative members in the NATCO network. And if everyone will make small contributions, it would create great impact, wider ripples. So this is a good step for us, and we are grateful that ICAAP was the one who really initiated this program in 2019. And we are the product of such initiative. So we are looking forward to more collaborations and a healthier and cleaner Philippines through the cooperatives.
Thank you so much, Lazarus. Thank you for your time and joining us today. Now let us proceed to the next segment of our webinar, where we will have a conversation with our youth climate actors who are actually putting in a lot of effort on the ground. Let me quickly tell you who the panelists are, and then I'll invite them to introduce themselves. We have with us today Mr. Leo Paneris. He is the youth coordinator at Lamarck MPC Multipurpose Cooperative in the Philippines. And the initiative under spotlight for him is Integrated Organic Farm School and Farm Tourism. Our second panelist is Ms. Rasleen Ediati. She's a member of a Ken 8 cooperative in Indonesia, and she will be speaking about promoting the use of permaculture for sustainable co-living. We also have Mr. Hanish Katnawal, who is the co-founder of Himalayan Hemp Cooperative in India, and he's going to talk about spreading awareness about the Himalayan hemp plant. And we have a very young speaker with us today, Ms. Usha Nairola. She's a student, school student, and a member of Child Club in Nepal, and she is going to talk about environment protection at a personal or an individual level. So very warm welcome to all our dear panelists. And I request Mr. Leo to kindly take the floor and please introduce yourself as well as your initiative.
Okay, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Leo Lengel Pañares, the Youth Program Coordinator of Lamarck MPC. So I am here for our initiative of our Integrated Organic Farm School. So right now we are currently having different kinds of programs that are not initiated right after we won the co-op pitch during I think the first co-op pitch. So it was the first time that it was the program that we initiated right after we won the co-op pitch. So can I share my screen, ma'am? At least one, I think I will just share one photo only. Wait for a while.
Are you able to share your screen?
It's not sharing.
You can try now.
Oh, I cannot share my screen. But it's just a quick review lang on our integrated organic farm school and farm tourism. So right now we have the organic farm tourism, the farm school, the farm technology, of course, and the livestock and poultry, and the flower farm and the farm stay, and of course, pick and pay, lakbay aral farm tours, and of course, the right now we also have our organic farm resort. So do I have to discuss now, ma'am, our initiative, or later after the other panelists has been introduced?
You can explain a bit now itself.
Okay, so right now, in like our climate change here that we are facing, right, when it comes to climate change, we often think about the things we can do to prevent it, such as reducing our carbon footprint. However, there are other ways to help reduce the impact of climate change. And one of them is by writing. Of course, because writing can actually help boost conversations and prevent climate change. How? By raising awareness and educational other about this issue. And we can encourage them to take action to prevent climate change. The more people know about climate change and its effects, the more likely they are to take action to prevent it. So how we do this in our cooperative model. So when it comes to responding to climate change, of course, we need to work together. No one country or company can do it alone, or any other cooperative can do it alone, because we need a global response. And that's where cooperatives comes in. Cooperative is an organization owned and run by members, and this means that decisions are made democratically, and everyone has an equal say. This makes cooperatives incredibly effective at mobilizing people and
guys.
common goals.
Mr. Liu, I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is a very serious and sensitive request to all the students. Kindly do not disrupt Zoom webinar by either clicking on your mind or clicking on your camera when you're not serious. Sorry, we will be taking strict actions, and I do not want to call out people here on the webinar or the country they represent. So please take this very seriously. If you do not want to attend, you may leave. Thank you. Mr. Liu, please carry on.
Okay. So what are our initiatives when it comes to climate change in our organic farm school? So we have some examples that may replicate with others also. So number one is our zero waste enterprise. So what is this zero waste enterprise? It is making the waste of our poultry and livestock into organic fertilizer. It is through biogas for hogs and vermicomposting. Since in our organic farm schools, we have different kinds of livestock and also hogs. So in order not to waste those, so we will make it into an organic fertilizer. And because of that, we are promoting also organic practices because of the usage of chemical fertilizer and herbicide that affects our environment. We will be minimizing and eradicating the use of the chemical by promoting organic practices, or what we call as the GAP certification, or good agricultural practice certifications, among our farmers and of course our youth. And we have also this environmental management system. So in our cooperative, we create an EMS committee. So the Environmental Management System Committee that will ensure that all the facilities and areas in the organic farm school will be friendly to our environment, mitigate climate change, and having, of course, a board of director, environment portfolio holder to be the policymaker in regards to the EMS activation and its full implementation. So we also have this waste management system. It is for segregation of biodegradable and non-biodegradable to all facilities and areas in organic farm school. And right now we are connecting to other local government unit, the national government organizations, and the other private sector to have also to promote the trees and fruit tree growing. So it is making trees and fruits growing as part of the livelihood enterprises for our members, of course, and the participation of our different kinds of value chains. So we have this cacao value chain, the coconut value chain, and bamboo value chain, of course. And for the water recycling, we also have this kind of project that it is where we're recycling the water through water filtration in order to save water consumptions, especially in our organic farm resorts. And since we are into farm tourism, so in our farm tourism learning visit, it is highlighting the importance of climate change. Every time there will be a visit from other organizations, cooperative and other agencies, by demonstrating the best practices for addressing climate change. And we also have this training, immersion, and workshops for our youth. So what's in that area? So it is to conduct a series of training, immersion, workshop for our youth on how to take care of our environment and awareness of climate change. So of course, we are also inviting any other speakers that are well known on this kind of topic. So we also have the NATCO, of course. They have the speaker and any other federations in the Philippines and also in international. And we also have this usage of renewable resources. It is relying on renewable resource by adding solar power to some of our facilities, since we are also into the solar power. So some of the facilities, we are adding some solar power. And because of that, we are doing all of this program and activities to ensure that we are implementing our vision in the cooperative, which is to diverse and differentiated cooperative, sustaining a socially vigorous community of environmentally and gender-sensitive families. So this might not come that easy because we have also some challenges. And number one of that is, of course, the
Mr. Leo, if you don't mind, we can discuss the challenges a bit later.
okay.
We would like everybody to discuss their common challenges vis-a-vis cooperatives and climate actions together.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
if you are if you have explained your activities, we would like to now move on to another panelist so that
Yes.
she can talk about her work. All right.
Okay.
I would now like to invite Raslin from Indonesia to talk about herself and her cooperative. And also, Raslin, please explain to us this permaculture technique and how does it contribute to climate change? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to share my screen. Okay. I hope it makes it easier for me to explain. Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Rusel from Jogja, Indonesia. If you want to know where Jogja is, it's somewhere around here. So actually now we are moving forward from sustainable to regenerative using permaculture. And about us, we are a co-op of knowledge. So we don't do savings in here. We don't collect money, but we collect knowledges. One of them is permaculture knowledge. So we're actually developing members' expertise in the business unit and various platforms, including the platform for farming, co-living, and co-housing. We call it Bali Rege. So our main resources is knowledge. So we are promoting member-to-member learning. So from one another, we can learn. And like I said before, we learn permaculture from this co-op. And from this, we learn one thing that sustainable is no longer right. So we go forward from sustainable, from adding no additional harm to the nature to regenerative. So it's like we give one to nature. Sustainable means like we give one back and no change. But if we do regenerative, we give one from nature and we give two to knowledge, to the nature. And in our co-op, we do some kind of a discussion. We collecting our anxiety together because co-op is a group of people. We have a common intention, a common interest. We think that we need a solution about food because we all need food, but it's currently the leading cause of environmental damage. So it's like the high carbon emission is not just from the transportation sector, but also from food is one of the highest thing. But we need food. And the other issue is about salary, it's about money. We need solution about it. And we need somewhere to live, somewhere to eat. And we need a place to grow our own food. So we need solution for this too. And from that, we learn from our other member that permaculture give us the solution. Actually, permaculture itself is a kind of how our ancestors work, but it's written with modern techniques. So from that, we know that we can change, we can transform an empty land, something like this, into something that very green. It's written and it has the guide, so we just need to follow it. It looks easy, and in permaculture, we learn that human is the key and co-op is the catalyst. So we have to work together to make the world is a better place. So we are not just complaining about the problems, but we'd like to find the solutions for our problems now, like climate change. So what's interesting about permaculture and our co-op is like we have so many literature about permaculture, but it's all in English. So we try to work together and translate it into Bahasa and make all of our members can understand more about permaculture. So we create another unit to translate it and to kind of spread it to all of our members, especially, and other people too. So we believe that saving the earth starts with us, and co-op is our catalyst because we can work together. And our first initiative about permaculture is called Bali Rege. Is actually a microplot of regenerative living. consists of so many organizations now. We're not just from member to member, but from other association, other platform, other business. We work together to kind of make it true. So we're renting this land for 15 years. Actually, we call it like a tired land because a bare minimum of hummus, so we can plant nothing in there. The road, everything is rotting in there if we plant. So we need to create a new land. One of our founder in permaculture said that permaculture is growing earth or growing the land. How is it? So we try to find a strategy. The first is to have the solution for the food. We create a food forest development. It will take 15 years to develop a forest, and we try to make it true. And then for this place, we make it as an experimenting ground for various techniques of farming and planting from our ancestors, and also a place to live because we need humans to live there. And we try to use this strategy like Go Micro, where the GFA is less than 10%, and we're using more local material. So we're using bamboos in most of our buildings. So the land is just this small, it's 500 square meters. And so now it's an office in the front, and we try to build the housing in here, but we try to project this place. 500 square meters is only for 10 family or 10 people. And then we try to make it simple because we need to replicate this in so many places. And this is our first trial using bamboo and cement. So this is the first building that we try. It's using bamboo. And then in here, we need to grow our food. So we try to create our own earth in here. We're trying to create a terra preta in here. And then we also try to make it more livable for some people, because some people cannot live in a very small place. So we try to keep it small and with various types of combo, like 2 bedrooms for a small family, and then the others that like to live upstairs, and the below can be used for a dining room or something like that. So in the front, we try to make design first. So after that, we can evaluate. This is the design for the office in the front. So we create a zoning. It's very common in permaculture. We call it zone 0. It's the one that closest for us. And then the zone 1 most likely is farming sector. And then zone 5 is the place that we are never visited, like the forest. And then we try to design it first, and we make it more modern so people can be more like it. And then we started in 2021. It's September. I take this picture, and we have nothing. And now we have this building. It's an office actually for they are a group of sanitation experts. And then the front area is for farming, and this is we tried something like hydroponics and aquaponics. And then the left, we try to farming like regulars with fish. And then we try to create our own charcoal. We harvest our rainwater in here, and we try to spread it and invite more people to come and see what we do in here. And then we try to invite other experts to come and share, not just for our members, but also the people who live around us. And this is our first camp where we share our ideas about this place. And we always have a heart for local food and heritage. So we'd like to have a group of discussions to talk about it, because we think sharing is one of the things that we can do, because sharing is caring. And then we'd like to be part of the solution and not the problem. I think that's all, Simran. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Russell. I do have questions for you, but we will take that up a bit later. Let me move on to Hanish, who's from India and who's using hemp plant and also cannabis in a very constructive and sustainable manner. So Hanish, a very warm welcome to you, and over to you.
Thank you, Simran. Thank you, everyone. It was great listening to Leo and Ruslin's story so far, and I'm really moved by their vision, and it's great to know them. And I'm also looking forward to hear the next panelist. So, before I talk about how and why we started working with cannabis and hemp, I would like you to know more about like how I came to be like this, like what you are seeing me as right now. So my journey was just like a regular journey. I'm an engineer by academics, and I completed my engineering. I was working in oil and gas industry, which I'm completely against right now. Like I worked in oil and gas industry for 3 years. I was in diamond and textile industry for 2 years. After that, I shifted to writing completely. I was writing for 3 years. And when I quit my full-time job after 6 years of experience, I was making good amount of money that was, I mean, it kept many people going, but still I was not satisfied with that. So I moved on from there and I started roaming around in the mountains in Himalayas. And it came to a point where I didn't even have any money because I was not even working at that point. But as I started losing hope and started thinking about going back to the corporate culture, so this happened where I came in touch with a group of farmers and artisans, and since I was into traveling and writing, so I always come across such people who are doing something different, like because I don't stay restricted to a place, so I have access to many different people from many different professions, and that is how I came to know about cannabis and hemp. And as I started to know more about it, I knew that it is a cultural thing in India. I also knew that it is a narcotic. I also knew that if you get involved into something like this, society will look down upon you. All these things will happen. And still we took this because what we knew, the knowledge that I had, that this potential can provide to this world. So I stick with that. And when I was sticking with that, everybody else who was saying, say, bad things about this and everything, it just got resolved because I had confidence in myself. And when I started talking to more and more people, and I came to know that it wasn't just me who felt the same. There were many other people, like my co-founder Sonam. She's not here today. She was the first person to give the idea about let's make sanitary pads with hemp and cannabis. Now, I come from a state which is a North Indian state, and this state is infamous for providing cannabis to tourists because the state is known like that in an illicit manner, like in an illegal manner. So, when I'm operational in such a state, I take it as my responsibility to also introduce people to its other non-narcotic means. Like, for example, I'm assuming that most of you have seen cannabis plant, may have used it also. I'm not going to ask that, but this is what we have been working with. Like, this is hemp fiber. This is one of the strongest fibers in the world. So, as my layer of ignorance was, going away, this new knowledge was coming in, and with this new knowledge, this fiber, we converted this into this sanitary pad, which turned out to be world's first hemp sanitary pad. And we were surprised, like why there was no other hemp sanitary pad in the world. And we broke it down to this reason, that people are scared. And when people are scared of, getting into anything which might get them into problem, and they're not wrong in that. But the thing is that in this world, if we have to make an impact, we need to take some risk, we need to go forward. And that is where my cooperative journey comes in, because I wanted to create a community of people, and also, just keep it in a way where it becomes automatic later on, where I am also not required to function so far. But so far, even after running it for last 3 years, I'm still very important in this organization, which makes me feel that I need to work more, because I have to become irrelevant slowly. That is the part of my journey. That is the vision that I want to exit Himalayan hemp also slowly, so that it stays with people and then it can continue on its own. So this is the first product that we told you. Then the second product that we made was, it was India's first hemp building project, which we finished in Himachal. Like if any of you are ever visiting Himachal or India, I would request you to visit our hut as well, cottage. I'll show that cottage to you in the next, when we have a next discussion or something. But so far, these are the things that we created. It created a positive mindset amongst locals, because farmers, artisans are not educated in a modern way, but they are educated in terms of, they know how to work in the farm, they know how to work in the nature. So they are educated that way, and I am educated in the modern system, so we all can come together and they can understand how to work with this plant, and this is how we can have a cooperative vision going on. So this is my journey so far. I'm looking forward to hear the next panelist. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manish. That is indeed a very, very risky work that you are doing for whatever social connotations involved. But yeah, great job, and we will come back to you in the conversation. I would now like to call upon our next speaker, who is a student from Nepal, Miss Usha. Are you here with us?
Yes,
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. Do you want to switch on your camera, Usha?
Yes.
Great. Oh, it's lovely to see you, and welcome to this webinar. Um, can you introduce yourself and tell us about what you do in order to protect the environment?
Yes, sir. Namaste everyone. A very good afternoon. I'm Usha Nirula from Nepal. I'm a student and I'm currently studying in grade 11 in Sri Kavi Shiromani Secondary School. I'm very glad to share some of my views in the topic of the role of youth in climate change. Now, firstly, the earth is a home of all living creatures, and we environment, which we get from environment. We all are in the environment. The life of human beings is possible in earth only with the healthy environment. But the growing industrialization, growing urbanization, use of transportation, our environment of the earth is being dusty and being climate change is thing. Of course, role of women, but especially youth is essential to protect especially the youth is essential to protect the environment. I would say role of each one of us is vital in environment protection. I wouldn't say that I am a climate activist, but I am making efforts from my own end to protect our environment. I believe that charity begins at home, so I have started my activities from my home and school itself. Some of my efforts at home are less use of plastic as far as possible. I try using cloth or jute bags rather than plastic while purchasing groceries. I buy only seasonal vegetables as I believe that if everyone does so, use of chemicals to grow of seasonal vegetables would reduce itself. I separate the biodegradable and non-biodegradable wastage at home so that its management becomes easier. I don't waste food and become very sensitive while using water for domestic chores. I try not to waste paper and reuse the remaining papers in my old copies. These are the things I do at my home. In context of school, we have implemented a strategy of waste management, keeping the surroundings clean and develop consciousness to produce less wastage. We have also initiated recycling of old papers to make new and use them. As we have studied in our course studies, we raise awareness in our village and community to the public to use compost fertilizer rather than chemical fertilizers. We, the student of school, have initiated tree plantation program in our surroundings of school. We also plan to start thin as a movement, this as a movement in entire village in future days. Lastly, my main theme is that I wish to be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Usha. And what you are doing is actually extremely important for, we often look at doing big things at a large scale, but at a very personal level, these small steps like avoiding the use of plastic or polythene bags, going for seasonal vegetables, segregation of waste in your own, let's say, kitchen dustbins. All these things are super important. And so, thank you so much. And kudos to you for doing all this. And so, let me um, throw this question at any of our panelists. So, all of you. Uh, so Usha is not technically a part of a cooperative, but she's part of a students club, and the essence is the same. That there are a few members who are working together for an objective. So all of you are part of cooperatives. Um, what has been your most difficult challenge so far in working in this model? I want to start this conversation by highlighting the challenges. So let's discuss the challenges, then we'll move on to the better things. Any one of you who wants to start?
Okay.
Yes.
So in our part, and maybe because it is more generally happening right now that the youth involvement into farming is not that really high anymore because of technically because of the technology, the digital that we are in right now. So farming word right now is low. Most of the time, since we are focusing in agri farming, of course, in our organic farm school. So one of the most challenging factor is that the likable of our youth, and of course that if still they are willing to be a part of the farm, being active youth farmer, or and something like giving the motivation that they are still willing into in this kind of program. So that's one of our main problem.
Thank you, Leo. What about you, Raslin? You work in a pretty urban setup, semi-urban setup.
Mhm.
And so how do you motivate young people, your friends, to work with you?
Mm-mm. Actually, yeah, working with young people is a bit different. Like generation gap is always an issue because we have various age of our members, and the character of the young is they like to try new things, and they don't want to settle. And this co-living is a commitment for at least like 15 years. So it's kind of hard to make them committed in this place for 15 years and keep them still interested in here. So commitment is the biggest issue, I think, because they try to learn about new things. Maybe they want to learn about coffee, they try to work abroad or some bigger city. Yeah, something like that. That's our biggest issue. And so, yeah, that's the one that stay in our cooperative is more like senior. It's not the young.
So the young are always in a moving stage,
Yeah, that's true.
hopping, and
Yes.
well, when we are at a certain age, we
Mm.
feel more stable. So that is one of the realistic challenges, according to you. Okay. What about you, Hanish? In your work, do you involve young people in your cooperative, and how difficult it has been for you to set up and to make people understand the value of cooperation?
So, as you have known that I primarily work from the Himalayan range. So, so what happens is, first of all, it's a seasonal work time here. Like in winters, nobody is able to work here because they have to spend time on keeping themselves warm. So for 4 or 5 months, it's complete shutdown. So we actually take it as an opportunity where, in the summers and during rainy season, we try to stay active. And then during the winters, we try to brainstorm about how to keep going and everything. Now, in this scenario, many young people come interested in the cooperative because they think that it's somebody working with cannabis and hemp, and it might be cool to work with that. And and I understand that. I don't have any problems with that. But when they actually come here and when they see that these are not a group of people who are, smoking up or doing things like that, but they are actually creating products, they get disappointed. But I like that disappointment also, because that disappointment tells me that they expected something and they didn't get it. And that kind of an approach also filters the crowd more properly, like the young people. It gives them a different perspective. Like cannabis is not just something which is used for a recreational purposes, it has many other purposes. So whosoever gets connected after that, they have a true connection with our community. So that is one of the things. Now, one of the challenges that I would like to mention is, first of all, is the legal challenge, which is, of course, I mean, from the government side, it's always there that we are always trying to ask them for the policy to come up, but we don't have that much financial capacity to bribe. I will say all of this. I would like to say all of this because if we are talking about resolving an issue, it's good that we resolve them properly. So like corruption is one of the major issues which doesn't let the cooperatives grow. I feel that is also one of the problems, because you need to feed money to different kinds of people to get work done, and I am not comfortable with that. Everybody suggests me, like in a matured manner, you should do it, and sometimes I do it as well, but I'm not comfortable with that. I want the system to change a little bit. Now in this one challenge that I would like to talk about is the challenge of, um, for example, say the policy, like for cannabis and hemp to be cultivated, there is always a need of a hemp-based policy, like in every place. Now, when the policy will come in the place, what will happen? Only people who are big, like say corporates, rich people, they will come and they will try to use that policy for their advantage. And what will happen is small scale farmers or backward farmers, they will still lag behind. So to strategize that, what we try to do is, like we go to a geographical area, we see the connected lands of the small scale farmers, and then we join their cooperative, register them as one cooperative, so that what happens when government comes up with the policy later on and they say that we cannot give it to small scale farmers, we can only give it to large land, so then we can apply as a cooperative for the license. Because as a group, like say one person is not rich, but if we connect like 20-30 people, and if we have their financial capacity also going, I think we can have an impact and all of them can benefit after that. So this is a challenge that we face in while working in this space, which is legal, and also like dealing with the already rich, and there is this demarcation of backward farmers and also rich farmers. So trying to bridge a gap between them and also trying to work with the local farmers, like that. So these are few of the challenges we are working on.
Thank you, Hanish. And in fact, your challenges are more unique to you because it's not just the business model, but it's also your natural environment where you're working. So there are more geographical and more nature related challenges that you face, broadly speaking. How about you, Lazalit, in your work in all these years? What are the challenges that you have faced as a person or as a group?
With regard to the youth program, because not all cooperatives in the Philippines have really integrated youth development in their program or in their operation. So we are still not moving forward as we are supposed to move forward, having all of these activities and advocacy that we have started decades ago. Right now, the laboratory cooperative in the Philippines, which is supposed to be the training ground for young people, the number is not yet high. So there is still a lot of room for growth in terms of youth involvement. And secondly, the youth program should also be creative and innovative in engaging and sustaining the participation of young people. So it should not only focus on savings generation or the usual activities that we do. So there should be a constant innovation and changes so that more people will be excited and continue their engagement in the cooperative. So far, those are the challenges that we have seen. And this entails really the support of our leaders, because in the Philippines, our laboratory cooperative or youth cooperatives can only succeed if there are organizations we call guardian cooperative or mother cooperative that would be willing to support this organization. So we see this mutual support and cooperation between the primary cooperative and the youth cooperative. And the primary cooperative should see that this is really a good opportunity to train future members of the cooperative. This is already their captured market. All they need to do is to nurture them and to support them so that they can grow their appreciation for the cooperative and make cooperative as their first financial organization of choice.
Yeah. Since you are here, Lazarus, can you, for the benefit of our audience, explain what is meant by laboratory cooperatives? Because this program is very unique to your country.
Okay, so laboratory cooperative is like a laboratory. It's a training ground. It's the experiment lab for youth, so that they will get an exposure of education of the actual cooperative operation. So we these youth are trained in leading the cooperative. So there are also, they elect their board of directors, they have their committees. They also have their youth manager who oversee the day-to-day operation of the cooperative. So it's really like a cooperative without the credit transaction. So they don't allow young people or minors to apply for a loan in that cooperative. So it's really about savings generation, leadership skills, climate action programs, all of this. So the goal is because young people could not apply for a membership in the cooperative unless they turn 18 years old. So the goal is when they turn 18, they will graduate in the laboratory cooperative and would move forward and like leveling up of their membership to become regular members of the cooperatives. It's the transition. And the laboratory cooperative provides that platform.
Okay, thank you, Lazarus. I also feel that the experience of laboratory cooperative is very similar to college societies, clubs that we have in other countries. It's just that we don't call them cooperatives, but students are essentially working as a team. There's an executive body, they do have a little bit of funds, do their activities, etc. So although it's not in a proper form of a cooperative, like I said. So I go back to Usha from Nepal. Usha, you mentioned that you take small steps at individual level, which you do in your own house. So what are your challenges? Like, do your family members question you, why are you doing this, or what is the purpose of doing this? What are your challenges if you are still around?
Yes, can I say in Nepali?
Yes, please.
Yes. मेरो घरमा चाहिँ अब हाम्रो घर वरिपरि सफा भए पनि गाउँमा चाहिँ सफा हुँदैन अनि त्यसबाट पनि अब हाम्रो घरलाई चाहिँ असर पर्छ। एक ठाउँमा मात्रै सरसफाइ भएर हुँदैन, सबैतिर हुनुपर्छ। त्यही भएर यो चाहिँ च्यालेन्जेस छ। जब हामीले सबैतिर नै सफा पार्न सक्दैनौँ भने त्यसले एकतिर जति सफा गरे पनि हार्म गरिरहेको हुन्छ क्या। यही छ हाम्रो च्यालेन्ज भनेको, सबैतिर चाहिँ हामीले सफा पार्न सकेको छैनौँ।
Okay. I request Shanta, who is also a fellow colleague from Nepal, to please translate it.
Sure, Simran. She just said that, well, she has been trying from her end, and even her schoolmates have been trying to spread awareness regarding environment protection. But there are some neighbors, the neighborhood in a school and around her home, all of them are not conscious about this. So we live in community, and when the entire community is not clean, it obviously creates a problem. So she says that her home is obviously clean, and many of her friends, they have initiated just keeping the home and surroundings clean. But it is difficult in neighborhoods since all the people don't understand this, and making them understand itself is a problem. And because of lack of initiation of everybody, the whole community is not being able to they are not being able to keep whole the community clean. So this is a small problem, but it's still a major one according to her.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shanta, and thank you, Usha, for explaining your challenges to us. I would now actually like to open up the floor because for one's very simple reason that most of the participants here are from colleges, schools, where probably they have no knowledge and exposure to cooperatives. So they are completely unaware. And I don't want to keep talking about cooperatives in a context where people don't even understand what we are talking about. So all the participants who are here, you are free to open your cameras, first of all. And one by one, if you want to discuss or share what kind of eco-friendly practices you are taking, or if you want to ask questions to the speakers. And third is, if you want to ask anything about the cooperative model to our speakers. But please don't take a lot of time, for I am going to cut you in between. So maybe 1 minute per person. So anybody would like to go first? Okay. Anybody from Indonesia who is here and who wants to either ask a question, share a thought, anything? Okay, this complete silence. Maybe let me go to the classroom of Natko. Sorry, Lazalit has a hand raised. Yes, Lazalit.
Okay, so yeah, it's okay. Later on, if there are no questions, I'm seeing there's a hand raised from Mabrock.
From whom?
Oh, he turned off his camera already.
Okay.
Yeah, but if there are no questions, I would like to ask question to Hanish, because the 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 idea is really unique and in a way innovative. And my question is, how much time or effort or resources are you putting into changing people's mindset? So is education a major part of your like a business model, uh, for it to be at least given um, appreciation or acceptance, even a small percentage only? And are there organizations who are willing to support this kind of initiative? Because in a way, I feel that this is like a social innovation thing. So do you have supporters also so far? Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. And initially, when we started, and for example, whenever you go out to convince the world about your vision, and first of all, it's better that we convince ourselves and our family. And I'm glad to inform you all that, like, my family has understood it in a very positive way. Not just understood, they contribute in it also. Like, if I have some work and I have to tell them, like, this is what is required to be done, so they do it. Another thing, now convincing them is another part. Getting them to put some money into this is another part. So I could manage to convince them also to support me in this a bit financially, because I'm also kind of, I'm also young and I don't have that much of financial capacity right now. So I have also the support of my family to sustain. So they also put some money into this. Like, if I tell you about my father and my mother, they also go around, talk to other village women and tell them about, if you are interested in the stitching work, you can come. Like, our son is working on this with the different people, so you can also work on this. So when you have the support of the family, then actually you can go ahead and just spread it out in the world, because you manage to convince those people who are the hardest to convince, actually. So that way. And yes, we get a lot of support for this, for the approach that we take. Like, for example, when we go to farmers, and since we are a small organization, so what happens is, we tell them that we need this from you, and we will be able to take only small quantity, but we promise that, as it keeps going, we will keep increasing the capacity as well. And they understand it positively, especially those farmers who are in need, because big farmers already have it sorted. They don't need our help. Only small scale farmers need our help, and they are not, they require money, but they also appreciate value, which is the core identification point for me to associate with any, that they are value driven. And I find that they lack some of the financial, but I like to be financially secure, because it is very important for everyone to be financially secure to keep going. Got three government grants for our product, sanitary pads, which is amounting to around, in Indian rupees, if I tell you, and one just day before yesterday, we received a grant of 1 CR as well, like, which is 1 crore rupees, which is a huge amount for a cooperative like us. And it's a grant. It has an ownership with the government. We have maintained our business model.
Okay. Thanks, Anish. There are a few questions, but before I go to those questions, I just want to quickly check. We have a lot of students from China. So if there is a comment or a question from you guys, do you want to share anything? Maybe you can all just wave at us.
Hello, Simri.
Hi, Sherry. Hi.
Yes, I'm Sherry. And I'm an admin staff from Zhejiang Institute and Economics and Trade. And thanks for your sharing. And I know nowadays climate change is a big challenge in this era. And for China nowadays, we have conducted many actions to change the climate. For example, we have conduct many low carbon museum and low carbon laboratory, and we create many scientist team to do some active conduction for the climate. And for President Xi, we had advice that golden mountains, green mountains are also the gold mountains. Have you ever heard?
Yeah. Sherry, could you also quickly tell us, your institute is a very renowned institute in China. So what kind of activities do students do?
You mean our activity of youth? Yes, also in our school, nowadays we conduct the green school, to ask the students and people to create a club to protect the environment. And also because of our policy, we need to save the electricity and water to protect our environment. And we also green many plants in our campus. Yes, from the very small activity, but everyone act positively to protect the climate. Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Sherry, for sharing your practices with us. I go back to the chat and there is a question from Amelia. Amelia has asked, what would be the best way to influence young people to join the cause? Is it by sharing common anxieties like Ruslan said earlier? That's a very good question, Amelia. Maybe Ruslan, you want to address this, for you are actually working on this aspect?
Yeah, actually, I know Alia too from our co-op. And yeah, we are trying to find the best way. I think it's not the best way yet, but we try to open regularly every 3 months. We try to open a school of co-op. The topic is very various. Now we try to start with what most young people like it, like tea and coffee. They like to be a barista. They think it's cool. So we try to introduce things about co-op, about permaculture, about what happened in this world actually by using the media of coffee and tea. So we have like kind of a residency for 6 months for new member, for young people to join and try to experience how we work in a cooperative and how we work with permaculture principles. Yeah, something like that. And we try to find a better way to communicate with them and with videos and such things. Yeah, I think that's all.
And Ruslan, so for the benefit of everybody, can you tell us, you mentioned that members in your cooperative are all experts, and I have personally visited your cooperative, so I also know, and I really want to share this model with everybody. So in their cooperative, members do not necessarily contribute financially and become members, but instead they contribute their knowledge, whatever field that they are experts in, They come as, let's say, accountants, they come, let's say, as designers. So it's a space where everybody pulls in their expertise. So can you just highlight a few things about your Ken 8 cooperative?
Yeah. So because there are so many expertise in our co-op member, but I think we all think that we need funding for our movement too. So we try to create a small business unit. So for example, we have a cafe in Jogja. We are collaborating with other company as well. And then in there, we try to use the expertise of coffee in there and try to get benefits from the cafe. And then we try to support our movement in the co-op, because we cannot, we still need money to run our school too. Yeah, that's what I can say. And the other is, for example, the permaculture specialist, we try to facilitate him to publish his book. So the good thing is we can get the benefit from selling the book to fund our co-op. And the other way is for our member, we can absorb the knowledge about permaculture itself free, no charge. Yeah, something like that. Is that clear enough?
Well, if others have questions, I think you should definitely share your email address in the chat box. For your model is very interesting. So I would recommend others to kind of contact you and get to know more about you and your work. Sure. There is a hand raised by Supriya Gautam. Hi, Supriya. Do you want to share your comment with us?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I'm Supriya Gautam of grade 8 from Radhika Mabi, Ulabari 6, Morang, Nepal. And today I would like to share some of a work done by me as a youth actor in climate change in Asia Pacific. I have done some works like we have conducted programs to aware the students and guardians of our school about the climate change and its impacts as well. We have also conducted programs for awareness in our nearby community. We have conducted tree plantation and sanitation programs several times in our school and community. Personally, we have started using electric vehicles instead of vehicle run by fossil fuel and our family, and I would like to encourage others to do so. We also suggest others to use renewable resources instead of non-renewable resources, and more public transport should be used instead of private vehicles. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Supriya. That is helpful. We also have a few participants from Africa. So anybody from Africa would like to share his or her thoughts with us? Okay. All right. Anybody from India who would like to share anything? Maybe people from India, you can wave and then tell us if you would like to share anything. Yes. Yes, Abhishek.
Yes, ma'am. It was really insightful. I'm from, like, first of all, I'm Abhishek from like Maharashtra, India. So I have my own organization named as Ashwas. So it's been almost 2 years. I founded that organization, and it mainly works with schools, orphanages, as well as the self-help groups, like the local groups of women, for their own empowerment. So we mainly work for tree plantations, climate change awareness, as well as seed ball methods. And the seed banks concept we have started in the rural part of this area. So till date, we were able to engage more than 50,000 volunteers. Currently, we are the team of 200 people. So first of all, the session gave me a different insight. Is I never imagined a social cause, like non-profit thing and a cooperative aspect to it, like how it can be like a really mergeful thing and how two things can work in the alliance with each other. So like that was really insightful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abhishek, for sharing your learning with us. And is there anybody else who would like to ask a question or share anything? Yes, Anurag.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Simran.
Hi.
My name is Anurag Dan. I'm from National Cooperative Union of India, New Delhi, NCUI. So, as Abhishek has, just he was surprised to know that how cooperative and environment could be combined, how these two causes are aligned to each other. I would, point out here that cooperative means working together. And this model is based upon 7 principles. And the last principle, the seventh principle of cooperative is concern for community. So in community, we yes, very much take care of the environment for the sustainable development of the environment also, of the community also. So yes, it is very much aspect of it. Perhaps we need to focus more on it if you want to work towards it. So yes, cooperative and environment are very much aligned to each other. So I guess most of the students here are, they are new to the cooperative model. So for all of them, I would like to reiterate that cooperative means working together, right? It's a social and economic model, and it is based upon 7 principles. So one of the principles, the seventh principle is concern for community, which very much focuses on the environment also, right? So for this climate change or for any other thing that is related to the environment, it is very much part of the cooperative movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anurag. There's a question in the chat by Emilia who wants to know, so how do you basically influence young people? And I would like to ask this question to both Leo and Hanish. For you do work with young people on the ground. So how have you been able to motivate young people to come and volunteer or join you as a cooperative?
Okay, and thank you for that, ma'am. Maybe for us in Lamak Lab Co-op is we show them our best practices, and of course, giving them the assurance and the benefits, and of course the privileges if they will join with us, and also we are always here for them to guide and educate them and how good it is to become a part of our cooperative, and it is not just if they will just join us, they will only be focusing on this area, but we are giving them the benefits to be roam around, exposing all of their talents and their skills, especially if in honing through workshops, through training, and through any other activities that would benefit them, that will equip them to become a greater leader, of course, a greater youth, and also giving them idea and giving the benefits when it comes to climate change.
And yeah, what kind of are these like non-economic benefits or economic benefits?
Oh, maybe in our, since we are also having this savings program, savings generation program, and of course, and while they are working, or maybe while they are volunteering themselves in the cooperative, we also have this. For example, if they are into farming, give on our farm school, we give them the benefits, the scholarship grants through our national certification, the NC2, through the partnership with TESDA, of course. And since our farm school are accredited now with TESDA, so more or less the youth who are participating with us, they are giving a full scholarship grants for free for them to be just to give them the benefits for free to know more about into farming.
Okay, so scholarships is one way you try to attract and motivate young people. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hanish, what about you in your business? How do you inspire young people, both economic and non-economic ways?
Right. Right. So, in my approach, we try to ensure that everybody is paid off, kind of, in a way like for whatever work they are doing. So, for example, now actually we work in such a field, so there are many young people in the organization. Now, personally, I'm looking for old people to also just come and be the guiding light as well, because there are many young people. But how we have it, because for example, a product designer gets in touch with us, and since in Himalayan hemp we don't just have like a, say, it's not just a work based thing. It's like there are creative insights in everything. Environment is one of the, like, environment and sustainability is one of the basic principles that we have ensured. Like many people work upon the environmental solutions by recycling the products, or planning the recycling and everything. But hemp itself is an alternate sustainable material, so we try to create products with alternate sustainable material. So it's called resource efficiency in what ESG sector. So when young people get in touch with me, and what they tell me is, we want to do everything, we want to know what you're doing and everything, this and that. But then I try to balance it out for them by suggesting, like, okay, tell me what do you do, and say they are a product designer. Then we both start working on a product designer, or somebody who is already a senior in say working in the cooperative for a long time. They or me or anybody, they get in touch with them and they start working on this project together. And once, say, 3-4 days ago, we just finished working on a dress. Like it's a say dress for dress that you wear in Easter. It's specifically targeted for Christian people who celebrate Easter. So we also try to narrow it down for them, so that the product created is such which also goes with the Indian festival spirit, or how it it can sell. And then we share some margin with them, so that they are also financially secure and they like it as well. So this is the kind of approach, like this is also cooperation, but in a different way, where they are also getting to know more about our organization, and they are also, while learning, they are also earning the money, and something new is coming out, something innovative, creative is coming out. So this is what we try to do. But I also like Leo's strategy of using scholarships as one of the things. I think if in future you see Himalayan Hemp also doing it, the idea was given by Leo. So yeah, thank you, Leo.
That's great. And yeah, I agree with you about aligning interests. So both parties, members, employees, volunteers, should feel a little like they should feel that they are on the page with you, on the same page as you. There was one hand raised, and I would like to be close after this. 1 minute, please. The hand was raised by Alvita Arnisa. So Alvita,
Yeah.
you...
Okay.
Hi.
Thank you for your time. I would like to ask to all the panelists. It's about young COOP as the roles for climate actors, and also in general based on COOP. What's the best way for younger or young people to attract them to interest in a co-op and wants to make a project based on co-op, especially in climate change? Thank you.
Okay, to be honest, I myself did not understand that question, Alvita. Can you please repeat your question, and then we'll ask somebody to respond.
Okay, sorry before. Yeah, the point is, I want to ask, what is the best way to attract young people to be interested to do project based on co-op, especially about climate change.
Okay.
Do you got it? Thank you.
Okay. Actually, we have been discussing this question of yours, how to attract young people, and what has come out from earlier responses is that you need to incentivize young people, either economically or non-economically. Economically, for example, you pay them like a stipend, or you involve them as employee, or you give them scholarships, grants, etc. In non-economic way, of course, you can give them certificates. You can acknowledge their work. If they are in the creative field, you can, bring them on board so that they can creatively get involved, maybe through writing, designing, any other marketing, things like that. Also, one important point that came out from the discussion was how do we align their interests? So young people are not like, they are not robots. They won't automatically come and work on your project or partner with you. They need to feel uh, that they also own this, and that feeling will only come when uh, they give something, also receive something. So to maintain that balance, to strike that balance, I'm sure there are a lot of like discussions involved, and the team in a cooperative, whoever is the decision makers in a particular organization, they have to come out with attractive schemes on how to bring them on board. So yeah, more or less, I think this is the gist. So, and if there are no other, I hope that answers your question, Alvita. So I would just recommend that all the panelists here, if you are comfortable, maybe you can share your official email addresses in the chat box in case somebody wants to network with you, contact you later. One hand raised. Okay, this is going to be the last one. Maverick. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but you can share your thoughts. You are on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I am Aburuki from Africa, member at large, ICA Youth Executive Committee. I have the question to the presenters. My question is about how have you been able to organize youth from different parts of Asia Pacific region to come together to tackle climate change challenges? One of the main challenges that we're facing here in Africa is how youth in Africa to come together and work on different challenges pertaining to climate change. Therefore, I would like to draw a lesson from you. How have you been able to work on that successful scheme on making sure that most of the challenges pertaining to climate change are tackled? Only the organization. How have you been able to organize, and how have you been able to motivate youth from different parts of the Asia Pacific? I know there was a question that was asked which relates to this, but I want it to be, or I ask it to be answered practically so that we youth in Africa can also put what you have explained into practice so that you can be as successful as you are. Thank you.
Maybe Lazaret, do you want to address this question?
I try to answer it. Actually,
Okay.
we aren't considered as successful right now, but what we try to do is documenting and try to design our steps, and after that we do kind of evaluation. So design and evaluate until we find maybe the most suitable, not the best way, maybe because climate is changing, the community is changing, how they think is changing. So we keep on being progressive and not stopping evaluating what we are doing. Maybe that's what I can answer. Maybe that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else who would like to answer?
Simrian, in the Philippines, since we are a federation of cooperatives, NATCO, so we try to use our network as a federation to encourage and influence our member cooperatives to organize their youth program. And from that laboratory cooperative or youth program that they have organized, we hold activities, biannual activities we call a National Youth Congress, wherein the leaders of the youth co-ops gather in a 3-day event, and we discuss some issues related to youth and the environment. We invite speakers for the youth to be equipped with various skills and knowledge, and we also organize our national youth leaders. So we have the National Youth Committee, and this youth committee, they elect among themselves, and the chairperson will sit in the board of NATCO as one of the board members, members of the board. And this really puts the youth into the decision-making power of the federation. So now the youth is being represented nationally because of that. So that is one of the ways for us to really engage the youth from the primary level up to the national level, in the level of the federation. And a while ago, there's a question about a soft spot of really encouraging youth. And for in the Philippines, if you are a youth leader, you are one of the most traveled individuals, because there are lots of opportunities for you to explore, to have learning visits in the cooperative outside of your province and even outside of the country. So being in the co-op gives you an opportunity to develop your skills as well as be exposed to the global co-op community. In fact, my first international travel was because of my participation in my youth laboratory cooperative in South Korea. So if I was not involved and active in my youth cooperative, I may not have the chance to visit Korea decades ago. So that can be an incentive and a come on for those organizations who would like also to encourage more youth to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Lazaret. And I kind of personally resonate this with you ever since, personal comment, but ever since I have been involved in the cooperative sector, my travel has increased. So this is certainly an incentive for me also as a young person, because it is not so much about, checking your bucket list, but it is also about meeting new people, learning from them. It helps me develop my skills. So I think to answer Maverick's question, what Lazaret was saying was you really need a well-defined structure, and that structure will only come where there is political will. So once you have determination and will that yes, you want to at least, target a few countries in Africa, then you can place a structure like a 5-year plan that every year you'll do certain events. You'll ensure that these now inputs from these seminars or conferences go higher up the ladder, and they probably reach, let's say, the ICA Africa Youth Network or the committee, and then from there those inputs can go higher up, etc., and vice versa. So I think that is the way we all have been taking in the form of semi-formal, formal structures in order to increase our visibility and strengthen our voice. So yeah, that's one way to look at it. And now we are very sorry for those who have other commitments. We have run out of time. So we would like to bring this session to a fruitful close. Firstly, please switch on your cameras so that we can start taking screenshots. And on behalf of ICA Asia and Pacific, I take this opportunity to thank, first of all, Ms. Lazalit from Philippines for sharing her very personal experience and journey with us. So thank you, Lazalit. I would like to thank Mr. Hanish Katnawar from Himalayan Hemp Cooperative in India, Mr. Leo Benares from LAMAC MPC Youth Planet Laboratory Cooperative Philippines, Ms. Rasalin Ediati from Ken 8 Cooperative Indonesia, and Ms. Usha Nirula from Child Club member in Nepal. Thank you to all the 4 panelists for taking your time out and sharing your very personal thoughts and journeys with us. So also I would just like say this out in the public. Both Shivali and myself, when we were thinking about this webinar, we did not want this to be a very formal or official webinar. We wanted it to be very, very informal so that people can make use of this platform to share, express, learn, etc. And we hope that most of you have learned something from today and will carry some idea forward. And in case you do carry any idea forward, or if you're already engaged in any activity which you would like us to cover, either on our social media or in the newsletter of ICA Asia and Pacific, which by the way is released every month, you are free to email us. Shivali has just put down her email address in the chat box. So if there is any activity, initiative, yes, but provided you are doing it within the realms of a cooperative, so or a student club, provided. So share your activities with us, and in case after this webinar some idea clicks and you want to build on it further, please let us know and we can connect you with some other person, some other organization who may be able to help you in the future. So thank you so much to everyone, and we will be issuing certificates to those who attended the program completely. There was a link shared in the chat box, so you can fill that form. Because we have many participants, and we will take time to create and distribute the certificates. So please give us time until the end of this month. Your certificates will be sent to you to your email address. And thank you so much, everyone, once again, and see you soon in the future. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.